And then it says, make sure that you include Bush and next.
Yep, no problem. I was probably too generic with it. I said, one of the parking lots.
Yeah, he's probably like, there's a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just gonna.
No.
Where?
What's going on? What people doing?
I don't know, actually, there was a meeting down here.
Yes.
No idea, because tomorrow, I think. Light it up.
Yes.
We don't have.
Yeah.
Set up for that. Fred was nice to do it, there's another event. Oh, there might be starting to set.
Okay.
And I have a lot going on.
Oh, I know. Good. Well, good.
I know, I thought it's fun.
She has made Christmas things tomorrow, firefighters tomorrow. Something here.
Exactly, yeah. 4 to 7 is holiday here. Will we use something else here?
No, 5 o'clock.
Tree light.
Firefighters are probably Dan working.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, should we?
Then we have our own breakfast on.
Oh, on Sunday. Yeah.
And I go to the airport and then Texas.
Yeah. Oh.
It'll be Christmas before Santa.
That's
Yeah.
well, okay. We'd like to get started. It's a couple minutes after 9. Thank you all for being here. So we'll call this town and gown meeting to order. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. And the first thing on our agenda is joint traffic mitigation efforts and caution. So that's Dan's.
Yep.
And he just wants to kind of keep that in the mix to see that if we do decide to maybe do some speed bumps on Battle Avenue or something like that, if MMA would have any capacity to help with that cost. And in speaking with Derek, it looks like if we do that, we could do it probably through some sort of a combined DOT and something else grant.
Mhm.
So we might not need for either of us to put in money, but sometimes there's a 10% cost.
Kicker or something. Yeah.
We have to put it. So I think Dan just wanted to keep that on the table.
Okay.
I think that's good.
On the line of that too, on March, students, we have the Students Against Distracted Driving. They have the police coming with drunken driving simulators and things like that. So as we get closer to the date, we'll share that with the town. So we get some. What's that?
In March.
Yeah.
That's
It's
fantastic.
really well received.
Yeah. So we tried to get them here in September at the beginning of the semester. We're quite busy.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It's really good. And just for transparency, I did talk with some other town managers and select boards about cost of increasing the police presence. And if we get, I think what we have 4 hours a week, is that right, Karen? And if we could, 8 might be doable, but like Stonington is 32, which I don't know if we need that much, but the police just informed them that they're increasing that from something like $90,000 a year to $120,000 a year. It was a huge jump
For the same amount of
for
time.
the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So it would be a really costly
Yeah.
proposal to increase it that much. So we can talk later about how much we might want to increase it, but I don't think we probably need to go. I don't think we have the capacity to go that.
No, and we're paying extra bits. So every time we have homecoming, RPT weekend and all that, we're paying for extra bits for the sheriffs to come around here as well.
Right. So
And we're doing more things on campus than in terms of sign. So we're doing, I think we're talking about making, uh, senior, senior dinner here instead of up in Bangor.
The alumni.
Yeah, the alumni banquet, just to try and get the students off the roads.
Okay.
Because traditionally we have the buses go up, with X amount of students that live on campus drive there. So we're trying to do something down here, kind of increasing our rideshare van.
That would be a great night for the ride.
Yeah. And so we'll train, the students are trying to double the rideshare van for homecoming this year to include alumni and students. We've already passed that hurdle, so getting alumni and the students off the road at homecoming would be nice.
That's fantastic.
Next question. I'm not gonna tell you how I know this, but down in Washington DC, they have these cameras. And if you go shooting through a construction zone at 30 miles an hour over the speed limit, it takes a picture of your license plate. Imagine if we had a camera, we could move it around on Battle Avenue, we put it down out on 166A or the Shore Road, and it took a picture of the plate, not for the purposes of giving that person a ticket, but for a purpose of town information, which would be shared with Maine Maritime Academy. And then we could disseminate who it was that was actually going down Battle Avenue at 2 in the morning at 65 miles an hour. And maybe Maine Maritime or the town wouldn't directly ticket that person, but with that information and making that driver aware that we know that this is happening. I think that would be a deterrent. And it'd be less invasive than a speed bump, which everybody has to. And the neighbors have to listen to the dump to dump as they go over. And the immovable thing, and there must be a way that it transmits that data instantly to, in this case, Washington DOT or Maryland DOT. So we would have that same setup.
Right.
And you can put it on Main Street one day or 2 days or a week, it's a movable thing. Just
That's what I thought too.
long argument.
Yeah.
Looking into that.
Some of them are just simple, it's just the wire that comes across the road.
Yep.
And it catches the average speed of the travel there. So,
And we had talked about, having DOT come out or the sheriff's department combination to come out and do that on like the DOT on 66 where it's still their state road.
Yeah.
And do that in like 4 times during the year and see, okay, let's see when the students are here. Let's see when students aren't here. Let's see when summer traffic is here. How the speeding is different or not. So we can still do that because I don't think we have to pay a lot for that. But
We might even be able to get that for nothing.
for free, yeah.
we have our own little deterrent too on Perkins Street, because right where the crosswalk is where our security camera is. So we busted our own students, we busted some townspeople going quickly up, and that's our most heavily foot trafficked road. So
Good.
I got accused last year of blowing through the thing, and so look at it. It wasn't me, it was a twin truck. So the license. So it was picked up on Yik Yak that the president or interim president flew through the crosswalk. And it was actually a townsperson with the exact same truck as mine. Yeah, but it's a short cab, not the full cab. So.
I think it's a good idea. It's a really good idea, Doug, and I think that's something that we could do for a pretty reasonable cost. And if we just to have the information, not for a ticketing purpose, because I guess the state of Maine has a rule that you can't use it for a ticketing purpose because you have to have a picture of the driver, not just the.
They don't hold up in court.
Right,
They tried
yeah.
that in Florida.
But just for a conversation, I think that's really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then the second thing on our agenda was the recent Water Street building demolition. Did you want to address that?
So the White House has been failing for some time. We had 3 different architects go through it, and the previous president, Jerry, tried to save that house with all of his might, but and despite internal at the school. So finally, the state took it off the insurance roll in September, and that was the cue for us to knock it down. So we're trying to figure out what's next. where, Derek had brought up an idea about us having a lunch place, but what we're thinking, something more simple is just a set of stairs going down. And, but we can work with the town, because that's also a parking space there in front of that. Remember, it has a little indentation in the road, so, we're thinking like a nice fence leading to a stairway going down on either side, just something simple. We're probably not gonna build there again. Maybe we don't have the money, and I don't think with the zoning, I just don't think it would make that much sense. But we can make it look nice and have a nice walkway going down there. So we're trying to figure out what we can do, but right now we're gonna backfill it, make sure the road's stiffened up. But the contractor thinks it's stiffer than what we thought. But the foundation on the backside was as weak as the architect said when they hit it with the first thing, the back foundation crumbled. So. Yeah.
Do you have a sense, is there any pushback or feedback that you guys have gotten, either through you or Kate, about that? You and I talked about this a little bit like last week or
Yeah.
so, where, I was concerned just by some comments I've seen from some town residents that either weren't aware of it and it was just the conversation was going down a negative path, and I thought, oh, this is a shame, this isn't like.
Yeah, we
You know,
probably could have
like
noticed
that,
it better, I found out about it from the owner of TNC, because I didn't know the exact date it was too, so like 2 weeks before I was in there getting breakfast.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, we're taking the building down. I said, I know that, but I didn't know the exact date. He's like, oh, it's November or 20 something, so.
Right.
Sorry, it caused a little inconvenience, but it looks like the missing tooth a little bit, but now that we have the stone structures, it looks a little bit better. And we won't prove that.
Well, we probably had to sit down butter.
Yeah, and, well, and the
Well,
contract,
it was an after the fact permit.
Oh,
It was an after the fact permit.
Yeah.
Because I walked down to the bank and I came back and I said, Sean, I said, "You think it's time for demoing that?" He's like, no. So it was an after the fact. So they went out after
So
the
they
fact.
weren't to butter.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say, we could have worked with you
Yeah.
to get the word.
yeah,
Yeah,
we could have done a better job at that, so.
well, that's something that we'll all work toward together.
Yep.
This communication thing.
I know.
It's tricky.
Well, we overly communicate in some realms, so,
Yeah.
down to the light bulb.
But it was a good week to do it because there was like nobody, I mean, it was quiet and so it didn't, I don't think, it didn't really interrupt traffic along there by having that.
No, TNC closed, but I didn't think they had to, because I went down there that day for lunch and they were
Oh, they
closed up.
closed that day?
Yeah, they closed up for a couple hours around it.
Oh,
But,
because that's something.
well, the fence just looped around the entryway, but I could see why he did. So.
Well, there were several people sitting on the lobster trap. Several.
Oh, yeah, Paul was there.
Paul Manning, I mean,
Yeah.
he said, oh, yeah, he said he had to see
Paul
for
was there.
himself.
Hank Durrett, I was out there a little bit watched.
Right. Did you have anything else?
Let's see, so the pier, just to get everybody looped in, we're gonna start, the piles are a couple weeks late. We went down and looked at those in Connecticut, so those will start arriving in 2 weeks, and then I'm hoping couple, 2-3 weeks, we'll start talking some piles in. So it's been a long while waiting, but we're looking forward to that, and then trying to see what the bottom's like, and if is what we think it is, and everything goes in there nicely. The ship schedule is still late next summer. Probably at best what we can make is probably August, but it won't come here until the spring of 26 at best. We're working on still a bunch of reiterations with the ship, and we're talking with SUNY about the lighting and electricity and all the other fun stuff. So, hopefully by the time we get the ship here, we've got everything kind of mapped out. I don't think what else is going on. Students are here until Friday, so a week from today. Half of them will probably be gone by next Wednesday, so it'll be quiet. It'll be able to rest easier for a month. The seniors return first week of January for Coast Guard exams, so they're usually pretty quiet during that week. They're buckled down and they pop up for their 2 tests a day and then they go back. But I think we've only got 2 seniors living in the dorms here. So
Yeah.
it's very thin in the dorms. Yeah.
Dorm project still on track for
Yep.
December?
Yep, dorm project starts a week from today. And that's all stuff inside the walls, I think. So I don't think you'll be hearing or seeing much on that. It's like replacing all the black water and gray water and some of the sprinkler heads and not a lot. Shouldn't be much you can see from the outside.
Is the windows waiting more towards spring?
We don't have the money for the windows. We just asked the state for some additional money there. So we're hoping to try and script for that. And we're trying to do the second half of the windows and disputes also. If you see the windows and disputes here on Main Street, they look pretty nice.
No, I just think it must be see the heat leaking out of the place. The windows would be great.
Yeah. So it's just, our finances are that, we get 4 buildings with half the windows done. So Amy's on the cold side.
I am on the cold
Yeah,
side.
so we're working on it.
That was good.
Well,
Yep.
so when you're doing this, are you also redoing, internal, maybe to private, I don't know, but internal plumbing and showers and things like that?
That's all we're doing.
That's what-
Basically all the stuff you can't see.
Okay,
From the outside. It's just the amount of money that was appropriated by the state. It's the largest dormitory in the state of Maine. And it's got plumbing from 1968 forward. So we have to get adventurous on some of the stuff because the dorm was built in 4 sections. And and they were mated together kind of oddly, said, oh, we built this section, then they have a connection so that even the way the steam and the hot water flows in the building is perfect. There's booster pumps and things. And so we're trying to rectify what they didn't think of back then, because they only thought they'd have one pod and then the second pod. So we're trying to re-engineer a 50-year-old building that the state wishes the building was like R20, which was being pretty well sealed up. Ours is like R5. So the brick is actually a heat sink, so it's pulling the heat out of the rooms. So, and the windows aren't any better. So we get there. The engineers looked at some like spraying the side of the building with a foam and then coating it, and realized that wouldn't stick to the brick, and tried to do that to the inside. So we're just doing the best we can.
that's all you can do. I was just curious in the light of the conversation that we had with water conservation, if you were gonna go with like low flow shower heads.
I think that we've already got that.
That was actually done a number of years ago
Yeah.
because, the Maritime Academy's water consumption on the dorms dropped like in half when you did it.
Okay.
So it affected transfer.
Yeah, low flow toilets.
I know, it's a double edged sword.
Yeah, and we put up some messaging around the town's water capacity. But some of the things we did, we fixed some just check, minutia, but we fixed some check valves and we're pushing hot water the wrong way for the shower. So kids were putting the showers on for 15 minutes to get the hot water. Just fixing those little things reduced the consumption too. So
Excellent.
it's good having a house full of engineers.
It's helpful. And with the recent rain, I'm happy to say that our reservoirs are rising again.
Yeah.
And we are not in any danger of having a serious water issue. So
No.
we're good. It finally came.
Yeah, and Randy's wiped his brow now from the fire.
Yeah.
So,
We can have fire permits again and,
Yep.
and all of that, so we're good. Amy, did you have anything? No? All right.
nope, I can't think of anything else. Any questions
Anybody?
here?
Hey, Greg, I asked if I could come today, just touch upon housing.
Yeah.
Still haven't reached out to you, haven't go look at the one building built. But on Monday, we're gonna have a workshop, I think, with the selectmen, and we're gonna talk about housing. And I know that in Maritime spending a tremendous amount of money on the dormitory. We haven't added any beds yet.
To the dorm?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we have. We've gone to triples now. So we've added 120 new beds. But remember, we're knocking out a quarter at a time right now. So we're a quarter of the.
So in the end, though, you'll have 120 new beds.
Yeah, we'll end up with more triples. So we'll be in the 600s as far as beds go. But we don't think the students are going to want to be tripled. So.
And that's the balance, the dormitory, like, I went through this with previous administration, I said, I'm here, I have the subdivision, I have the ability to add units. I want to add those units, so I'm having the discussions now with Bernadette, Jan, and Amy. I wanted to draw you into it also so that everybody did have that. And as far as the water goes, I have one well that's 100 gallons and that's more water than we use in it. So I have the infrastructure there, the three-phase power. So I just wanted to hear that.
Yeah, we're all ears on that, and we've had a couple companies come up from Brunswick and public-private partnerships. John Staples, who's a couple of years behind you, has been up here. He's interested in investing. I'm going to call with him later this morning. So there's some alumni that are interested in investing and doing some things that way. So we're going to complete our facilities plan, I think, in February, and take a look at what we have, because obviously we can't change anything we currently have, but we can reconfigure things. We've turned some houses into offices and things like that we could put back into usage for faculty housing and things like that, because we're struggling to get people to the peninsula. We don't have housing for coaches, we don't have housing for faculty, staff. And then if we could figure out a way to house the students and then open that housing up to the town during the summertime, I mean, that's the winter, I would think, is have someplace for the summer people to come stay. And I mean, the dormitories are okay, but they're still not air conditioned. We had to cut that out of the budget too, so as far as housing during the summertime. So the dorms are going to be unoccupied for the next 2 summers. So, but yeah, all ears on housing. You applied for a grant.
We did, we got the grant.
Yep.
We got the Department of Economic and Community Development, 175,000 that we
Yep.
got. And it's not so much focused on creating housing in Castine. It's starting at the very beginning with better good GIS mapping and being able to overlay the tax
Okay.
maps onto the other maps and the parcels and see the parcels. And then it's also other options like accessory dwelling units. How do we streamline processes for those in different communities, not just Castine. So it's Castine, Surrey, and Brooksville. So, and then also things like Nesterly,
Mhm.
which Nesterly is like that app that you go on, and if you have an extra room in your house, or you have a garage apartment that you'd like to rent for not so much, you can go on Nesterly and they will find you somebody who's already had a background check, already been looked into, and they will match you up. And that person, in exchange for perhaps a lower rent, will shovel your snow or mow your lawn or help you as they can. And so I think especially in Brooksville, that seems to be a really popular option, and they're all over that. And so I think offering it to everyone, if we can get more garage apartments and things being used for workforce housing, then we can have more things to offer to students who come and stay all year. Says quietly, but yeah, we can maybe have extra things.
Yeah, and we're working with George Stevens too about they're now interested in leasing their dorm out to our students. So that could work for the next fall.
Is this the new building, the latest within the built up in the church?
So we said we're not going to get into the leasing business, but if they want to lease to our students and directly, and the same thing for in town, we can make recommendations, but we won't get involved in that. It'll be a direct between, unless there's a building that we're in charge of and facilities and all that stuff. That's why the public-private partnership, like what you're talking about, is perfect. An independent landowner and with students, it's a good place for them to live. And we don't have to maintain the buildings or anything like that. But if we go in on a partnership on a building, we can look at things differently.
Years ago. I'm serious.
Yeah. I don't even know where your house is. I know generally where it is.
The entrance to your campus.
Okay.
With many great admissions.
So you're across the street from Parsons? Parsons is across the street? Okay.
Yeah, she's on the upper side of the Terra team.
Yeah.
Driving.
Okay.
You can't have it now, because I can't, there's nowhere for me to go.
The only other thing, this is probably a broader question, is once we get to March, the congressional directed spend requests have to be in. We should get together in one of your working groups and see what the town's goals are. And see what the school's goals are for this coming year. Senator Collins and Senator King have been very helpful. If there's certain things we want to approach together, it could be anything, it could be Adams School or what have you. But we should take a look at the bigger picture. You guys just did your comprehensive plan. Maybe there's some things in there we can work at together. And maybe some of that includes money to fix up some of the housing and stuff like that too, so. We can make things a little bit more immediate.
Maybe we can plan a working session in January to do that. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Does MMA have any other property outside besides the parking lot?
Well, we have big spot over in Penobscot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have three-phase power, so we've looked
It's
enough electricity to run a building. So we are Sprague donated a building for us, a rub building, which is a tip, like a aluminum structure with a it's like some sort of covering type thing. So we're going to put up it's 100 by 110. So we're going to put that up in the springtime. That'll be our new boat storage area. So we're going to get more boats out of the Castine lot. So and just put them in there. So I'm trying to save. So there'll be a little work area, but basically it's a boat storage area.
I don't know anything about 3-phase power, but is solar an option to meet those needs?
No, we can't have solar because we've invested in the solar fields with the state of Maine, the bear. So we're not allowed to have solar. We're not allowed to have solar for electricity. We're looking at trying to use solar at Payson Hall and a couple others, the hydronic solar for heating. So if anybody's actually down on the southern side of Payson Hall, it's actually a hydronic solar panel that they cut off back in 1985 because it was taking the fresh air from the paint bank and spreading it throughout Payson Hall. So it was a good design, but it wasn't really. I think after they built it, they hadn't figured out that they just put the suction for it in the paint bank. So again, engineers. So working on that. We're actually working on a small project right now to decarbonize the waterfront. So raising our electrical costs. So that's a project we're working on with several alumni, putting the hydronic back into usage and things like that. So
That's exciting.
it's all part of that last grant we got a year ago with Collins. So, yeah, nice little things.
A lot going on.
Well, you're renovating the waterfront. It's good to incorporate this in, I imagine, maybe this similar time. More efficient.
It would be nice to make the waterfront more efficient. It'd be nice to make Payson Hall, like we have that, they talked about, having picnic tables up front of TNC. We've got picnic tables on top of Payson, which anybody's welcome to use. We've got 4 of them, they've got 4 big ones. But I think myself and about a handful of others, use it. It's the best place to eat lunch. It's got a good commanding view of the bay and
I
nice.
just noticed them like 3 weeks ago up there, and I was like, wow, this is a well-kept secret. It's great.
Yeah, probably we should publicize that a little bit. We were a couple of years ago, they didn't want people going up because some of the squares were broken, but we replaced all those. So one of the crazy ideas we had is we went up 10 feet and put a new roof on that. It had some administration building, but also like a town MMA. I don't know what you call it, like that. Like we could have a wedding or meetings and things like that. Because it's kind of unused space. And I know we're gonna have to redo that roof, which is about $2.5 million in another year or 2. So we could think creatively. Castine Convention Center.
Someday.
Yeah, probably should empty parking. Come up with a good idea, then we always shoot it down with something else. Bobby?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Um,
I just come to learn,
okay, well,
and they've been very kind. When we do the clinic, of the ways that we could serve them. So we're gonna meet, and he's also made a great offer to
maybe some of that congressionally designated funding. So we're grateful.
That's something that'd be definitely mutually beneficial, especially if you have, funds from your source. That makes funding a little easier. Yeah, so we can take a look at that. We can invite Carol Woodcock down here. She's been down here looking at the fire station too, so. I'm gonna get into that one.
Yeah. But she's fantastic.
She's as good as it gets. Yes.
Well, I don't agree with anything else, so thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you.
A motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
So moved. Seconds. All good? Okay, yeah. Thank you so much.
What do you about that?
I guess that's- Happy
So
birthday.
bad.
I think that-
They're pretty benign.
Oh.
I was betting you were gonna come.
One which is out front, okay, too. Yeah, so.
I don't get my wings,
You have to get your what?
waiting staff
Yeah.
Waiting?
Yes.
for fishing.
Oh.